right, good evening. We apologize. We're having technical difficulties, but we're going to call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Again, this would normally be broadcast live, but the recording is going to have to suffice for tonight because of technical issues. Board President to advise members of the audience that they may address the board regarding agenda items after the superintendent's report. Only those members whose names and addresses are listed on the sign-in sheet available prior to the start of the meeting will be recognized during new business. The chairperson will limit discussion of any item by the public to 3 minutes in order for the board to expeditiously conduct its business. So used to wearing the mask, I forgot to take it off. Mr. Dolan?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Carney. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm wearing a mask and a face shield. 6 months ago, we were told that this would not be acceptable. But as this whole situation, the whole COVID situation and protections evolving, I'm going to announce tonight that happily all our kids are back in school, or the ones that choose to be. The ones who want to be virtual are virtual. I think that's a good thing here in East Islip, because people do have the choice. But we continue to say that we are going to evaluate our procedures, our protocols, and we are going to adjust. And we work in conjunction as partners with the Suffolk County Department of Health. I want to stress, we do not make decisions without talking, to the Suffolk County Department of Health. I was given wonderful advice by our contact, or our point person, because I was asking, could we do the shields? Now, we had asked several times in the fall and were told no. They had concerns, but she said, you know what, Mr. Dolan, it is a barrier. And why don't you wear it for a couple of days and see how you feel? And I have to tell you, I've been wearing it. Lightweight, easy to handle. The key is the mask underneath. I have my glasses on. If the mask is worn correctly, with the metal snugly on your nose, and your glasses sit below the metal, your glasses don't fog up. So I'm happy to announce tonight that we will be ordering for every secondary student a face shield. We will issue them. Hopefully they will be here by the end of vacation. But we will give every child a face shield. If someone is more comfortable with a desk guard, we will accommodate them. We will be leaving desk guards up in the cafeteria at the auxiliary gym in the middle school. But this is just another example of trying to work with the public, trying to work with the Department of Health, trying to keep our faculty, staff, and students safe here at school. So I will be, and again, I will be sending a message home tomorrow night that will also explain this. But, we're going to move into the next phase of being back in school together. Once again, as I said to you last week in my message, National Compliment Day is a nice thing. I can't thank the community enough, again, for their patience and support and their flexibility. It's very hard when the rules continue to evolve and change to keep up. But what I will stress to you again is we are going to move cautiously, carefully, and we really do not make big decisions without the blessing of the Department of Health. And I want to thank them, because they have been wonderful. They've been extremely responsive, and we are moving forward. We do have a new COVID tracker on our website. We've been back now for 2 weeks. We are not seeing an increase, in the trajectory of our COVID numbers. Where we are seeing a change is in the contact tracing. You know, at the elementary school, our contact tracing remains pretty consistent, where, you know, classes are being quarantined because kids are together all day long. It also supports our academic model. At the high school and the middle school, what you're seeing is more students are quarantining because now that we have more students in class, once you can't ensure 6 feet distance, you must quarantine the students in the immediate front, back, left, and right of a student that tests positive. You know, I want to give a big thank you to our faculty and staff, administrators. You know, we have our full complement of kids back, and this contact tracing, we don't take it lightly, and it does take a good deal of time, and we have to make some very tough decisions. But once again, those decisions are made in conjunction with the Department of Health. So what you have seen is more quarantining at the high school and middle school. It's not I wouldn't call it a significant increase, but, you know, one person quarantining is a major disruption to the family. Again, I'd like to talk the elementary schools. The elementary virtual program is being, I'm going to use the wrong term. It's not being reevaluated, but we've said students that want to return to school, we are going to start, you know, bringing them back March 1st. And there are, you know, some students that want to go virtual, and we will be moving them the week after vacation. You know, we sent out a survey to the virtual class, and we have, we've kept track of the phone calls that we've gotten. You know, ladies and gentlemen, other school districts are talking about it. Politicians are saying a lot of things about it. But East Islip has, you know, brought their students back. And, you know, not a big one for, you know, you don't get a grade in the middle of the course. We're not going to declare success until COVID has been eradicated in terms of the disruption it's causing, and you know. But if you had told me 2 weeks ago that the first 2 weeks were going to go like this, I would have signed that piece. I would have signed up for that immediately, because what I've seen teachers, staff, support staff, students, parents doing everything they can to get students back where they should be. You know, I said it at the last meeting. You know, a year ago or 11 months ago, the threat of COVID was up here, and we had to put the needs of our students down here. But as time's gone on, and I don't want to say we have COVID under control, because we don't. But as we understand it, and vaccines are getting out there, people are wearing masks, and people are being smarter, the scales are tipping. And our students need to be in school. Our teachers know it, our parents know it, our kids know it. So again, there's no perfect answer. There's an awful lot of opinion. You know, I want to address now that we've brought sports back. We didn't see that coming, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's a challenge, but we're doing it smart, we're doing it safely, and we're trying to be as careful as we can, but it's a whole nother layer. As far as spectators go, I do believe that, right now there are no spectators in Suffolk County. But March 1st is a long way away. I do anticipate, that the county is evaluating, just like we're evaluating, and we are hopeful that we're going to see changes. We've made it a point to say that we are going to have senior days for all our senior athletes. But I don't want to promise something that would put the district in jeopardy, liability, or in trouble. But rest assured, we are advocating to get back to as normal as possible, as quickly as possible. But we will not, violate rules or regulations. And we are, but I am confident that the fall season, which is March and April, will look different than the winter because of what we're learning. And we're learning some tough lessons, but I just ask that you be patient, and I promise you that we are advocating for our student athletes and their parents, just as we're advocating for our music students and their parents, and we're advocating for academic parents and their students. Ladies and gentlemen, no one group is more important than the other. Some get into the paper more often, but, we are going to do everything we can to get back to normal school. But please, please, we ask you to be patient, and we will continue to keep you updated. And just one last word of caution. Next week is February break. We understand everyone's getting a little bit of cabin fever. Even without COVID, you get cabin fever in February. But please, if you travel, please observe the quarantining rules. If you travel, please be honest with us. We would much rather that your child miss 2 or 3 days of school and get tested than come to school, be positive, and then we have to quarantine numbers of children or classes full of children. So please, if you travel, please tell us. Please, the secondary can go virtual. The elementary, you get the homework, and then go and get tested. Because if you cannot make a sacrifice for the betterment of our community, our whole community suffers. It's bad enough when someone gets sick and they don't know where they got it, and it affects their friends, their family, their teammates. But when people knowingly do something that they've been told and asked not to do, and they bring that disease into our community, well, we don't have to finish that sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, East Islip is a wonderful town. It's a wonderful place to live, and we have so much to be thankful for. And I am so proud to be your superintendent. But come on, we're going to buckle down and let's get through these last few weeks, or until and hopefully the spring will bring us better times. We're going to go with the face shields, and if your child is not comfortable with the face shield, you'll let us know and we'll give them back their desk shields. So there's a lot going on here in East Islip, and I have a few more things to say about some very special people in a couple minutes. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity to give this report.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Public comment on agenda items. We have only a few members of the public with us today. So we'll go on to certified personnel. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the resignations, terminations, leave of absence, position abolitions, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provisions of education law and civil service law as cited in the certified personnel attachments. And a motion?
Motion.
Second. Discussion? There are a lot of retirements here.
You want me to say that?
Good teachers.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jess, can I just say something real quick?
Absolutely.
It's interesting. It gets harder and harder each year when we get to this time of year, because today there are 10 names. Jackie Collins, Judy Fisher, Dave Kennedy, Donna Marshall, Patrice Mercurio, Christine O'Connell, Michael Petrie, Lisa Rulin, Maggie Strzelecka, and Janet Winter Fawcett. And, my first couple of years here, there were names and faces, but now they've become, friends and co-workers. As you get to know these people, we have a combined 301 years of experience walking out the door. And this is not the way to honor them, with a recorded broadcast, okay? We are lucky. Lisa Rulin's here with her family. Hey, Lisa, give her. And I know from experience, Mrs. Dolan's been retired now for 4 years. I don't know where you're going to find the time to do all the fun things you want to do, whatever they may be. But on behalf of the district, tonight we would simply like to say thank you very much. We hope to hire 10 people just like you folks, caring, hardworking, and people who really, really want to challenge kids to be the best that they can be. And the hope is that in June, we can have you all in the same room, whether it's at, Captain Bill's or here at the board meeting, because you folks deserve, and I hope we can bring the people back from last year who, if they're still in town, because quite frankly, 301 years dedicated to the children of East Islip is something to be absolutely commended, and you deserve cake, you deserve a party, and you deserve nothing but good health and happiness in the future. So, Lisa, and to the other 9, thank you, we love you, and we'll see you hopefully in June live.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dolan. Non-certified personnel. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the resignation, termination, leave of absence, position abolition, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provision of education law and civil service law as cited in the non-certified personnel attachment. Get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this point, would anybody like any items of the consent agenda removed? No, if not, the consent agenda passes. 9.20. I'm going to make a motion to table the school calendar approval in the event that we have a further discussion, and instead of approving it now and then revising it at the next meeting. So I'd like to, anybody opposed?
No, is that okay with you guys? Is there anything you need it for right now?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, change order. Land Tech Incorporated, number 5, Phase 3, whereas on July 25th, 2019, the East Islip Union Free School District awarded a contract to Land Tech Group, Inc. for Phase 3 athletic field upgrades at the high school in the amount of $3,425,256, state ed number as written, whereas the district architect, H2M Architect and Engineers, submitted a change order in the amount of $72,207.55 for the below referenced items in which pricing is based on either the Town of Huntington or Town of Babylon contracts as written. Items and amounts: fencing replacement and brush removal, $16,040. Fence and gate for rinks team bench area, electric to pole, $33,198.80. Pole-mounted light fixture by rink paving and sod by baseball field, $21,063. Additional lettering on signage, non-contract item, $1,905.75, for a total of $72,207.55. Whereas Parkey's Construction, in conjunction with H2M, recommended to the superintendent of schools that change order number 5 be approved as submitted. Now therefore be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves change order number 5 for Phase 3 athletic field upgrades at the high school, thereby adding to the contract sum for this project by the amount of $72,207.55. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the President of the Board of Education to execute change order number 5 on behalf of the Board of Education. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Discussion?
Mr. Harrison, even though this change order adds $70,000 to the bond work, we're still considerably under budget on that entire project, correct?
The bond project is under budget, yes.
By approximately,
$1.4 million.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Policy change. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the readoption of policy number 9640, non-school employment. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Manzo, did we get any direction by the attorneys for new verbiage? I didn't notice that. Did we get new wording?
Yeah, at this point, we're going to revisit that policy and try to make it more descriptive. But a lot of the areas that we discussed earlier in reference to tutoring and things of that nature are addressed in policy 2160, item number 14.
Okay.
And the coaching component is going to be addressing policy number 1500, and that's something that we need to work on as well.
Okay, so then we're going to cross-reference those policies?
Correct.
To this as well? Okay,
Correct.
so are we going to table this policy
We're
for
going
today?
to table this policy until further notice.
Okay. So, item 9.22, we're going to table the non-school employment policy. Donation to the music department. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the donation of a full drum set with some kind of cymbals from the Danzelgio family. I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure. This donation is valued at approximately $1,600. This donation will be a wonderful addition to the music department's inventory. Got a motion?
Motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I apologize for the way that I said the family's name, but thank you for that donation. Further donation to the music department, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts, whoops, something just happened to my browser. The donation of a full-size Hofner violin from Janet Jones, RCK principal. This donation is valued at approximately $300. This donation will be a wonderful addition to the music department's inventory. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. A third donation, we have 4 donations to the music department. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the donations of a half-size Stradivarius violin from the Beaumont family. This donation is valued at approximately $100. This donation will be a wonderful addition to the music department's inventory. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again to the Beaumont family for that donation. And last donation for this evening, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the donation of a 13-inch Lewis viola from the Tomasi family. This donation is valued at approximately $300. This donation will be a wonderful addition to the music department's inventory. Got a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That's wonderful for the expansion of the music department. Thank you all for those donations. Appropriation changes. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approve this attached list of appropriation changes. Get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Boring.
Um,
Boring.
okay. No need for an explanation? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Old business. Would anybody like to open with old business?
Mr. Montori's not here.
No? No old business?
old
I actually have something. It was brought up at the last meeting, the senior activities. I understand the high school principal's meeting with the senior advisors, and we'll get an update on that things are happening.
Yes, it seems like a number of ideas in the hopper. And the only caution I'll give is, it'll be a little different than last year, because remember, last year we weren't here, but we do have, 2 very, very nice class advisors, Mr. Bernard and his team, and we don't want to step on each other, but it sounds to me like there are a number of really good ideas out there, and we continue to say, we hope that, by April, we have all our students back, and the seniors will create the memories that seniors deserve to create. So, I would urge you to work with Mr. Bernard and the class advisors and, have the kids. But it sounds like, look what happened last year. We had 2 great parades. So I know there are some really good ideas out there. I've heard some wonderful things, and I've directed everybody towards Mr. Bernard and the advisors. And all I can say is, could you please write these things down so we don't schedule 2 things on the same day? That would be.
Hopefully that calendar will fill up on the website
I
soon.
think it's going to be full.
It was nice to see the fundraiser for the junior class in the hopes that they'll be able to have a prom too. So it's nice to see that we're moving in the right direction, back to normal.
And
so.
just, one thing, so you mentioned the proms. I say this all the time, we'll work within the parameters. I know, I'm watching the weddings, and what they can do with weddings, and we don't want anybody to be left out. Now, we said it last year at this time, we said it in March, we will have a live graduation, and we did. We can do these things if we work together, we're flexible, and it doesn't have to be at a fancy catering hall. There's an awful lot you can do with a tent and an open space. So, it's really not about where it is, it's about who you're with. So, from the promise from my office and from the, from the district is, we will support whatever is safe, whatever is healthy. And again, if we can't go into a closed environment, we'll create an open environment. But, like I said, we had graduation. We will have events for our students.
Okay, new business. Anyone? New business? No, we have a few questions from community members. Before that, do we have any questions from the audience at this point? No? Okay. So, Mr. Dolan, Christine Capello has two questions. Middle school lunch, how far apart are desks? Are shields being used? If there are no assigned seats, how is contact tracing being done? As students are unmasked and have most chance of transmission in lunch and reporting COVID case. Can we have a date on the case that is reported in the building? For instance, a case is reported and dealt with on Monday, but public is not aware until Tuesday or Wednesday.
We'll take it from the top. The desks are 6 feet apart, but in the auxiliary gym, we don't quite have enough room, so we have partitions up. So there are shields in the auxiliary gym. As far as the assigned seats go, the cafeteria is a lot like the bus. And we rely on the students, and the students have actually been very helpful. If contact tracing becomes a problem, we can certainly assign seats, but we're trying to balance, again, health and safety with the students' social and emotional needs. We have not had a problem in terms of the bus and the cafeteria. We simply say to the child, who did you eat lunch with, or who are you sitting with, or you're sitting with someone on the bus. If it becomes a problem, we will adjust. But again, sometimes you have to have faith in the students and their ability to rise to the occasion. But like I said, they're 6 feet apart in the main cafeteria. In the auxiliary, we have the shields up. And as far as the date, I will definitely look into this. But sometimes we don't find out about a case, and we tend to put the date we adjudicated it on. But I will look into seeing if we can get, the actual date it was reported. But sometimes we don't. We get told on Wednesday that they reported it happened on Monday. So. Yeah. Oh, Joanne's saying there is a tab. There is a tab on the COVID counter, but and I might say to Christine, give me a call, because I am a little unclear as to the dating piece, because we report the date that we find out. That might not necessarily be the date the kid was diagnosed.
Bumble went public today.
So, Christine, if you want to call me for clarification, that'd be great.
Okay. Nicole Bartoldas, reading services. Consider using funding to come to the education sector to fill gap created by COVID. What are the plans or consideration for bridging the gap with reading services? And if East Islip receives federal funding, how will those funds be used? Are there consideration for a summer program to get the elementary kids that are behind back on track?
The first part of that question, Mr. Manzo, Dr. Bells, Dr. Anderson, Dr. O'Rourke are currently working with our administrative team, our principals, and we were evaluating our reading program pre-COVID. So we will certainly, we know the bedrock of learning lies in the reading and writing portion of the program. So, they are looking at that with, and looking at it with the teachers. We'll make adjustments as necessary, but I'm very confident that I'll be able to say to you, come the end of this school year, beginning of next year, this is where we're headed with the reading program. As far as using the funding, I mean, folks, we have to be very cautious, because right now, and I do feel for Mr. Harrison, he's trying to put a budget together. We're looking at approximately $4 million in federal money, but that's not extra money. That's the money we didn't get from the state. Our concern is not if the federal government gives us money this year, the federal government does not come back a second time. So let's just say they give us $4 million this year, we're going to start next year down $4 million. That's the way we have to plan, because that's realistic. So right now, based on what we know, and it's still in its infancy, and these are, budgeting at the, is uncertain early on in public schools anyway, but this year more uncertain than ever. We are looking at a $4 million shortfall next year. So if we get $4 million in federal funding, it's going to support our budget from year to year. But we are also, again, I want to stress, looking at the potential to be short money. So we are going to look to maintain the programs we have and to shore up the programs we have. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not kid ourselves. We have some tough decisions to make, and I am just glad that the Board of Education, Mr. Harrison, had the foresight to replenish our reserves. And, that's not the answer, but it gives me hope that we're going to be able to get through. And as far as considerations for summer programs, we are talking about summer school for the middle school and the high school. We don't have anything currently for the elementary kids, but we can certainly add that to the conversation.
Bill, in the past, we've had enrichment programs offered by Scope. Will the district look into that for this summer as well, to see if Scope wants to come in and offer anything for the elementary level?
Yes, I mean, I was looking.
Scope or BOCES, I apologize.
Scope and BOCES have, those enrichment programs are going to run. There are some wonderful programs also through Brookhaven National Lab, through Stony Brook University, St. Joseph's College, and we will certainly work with them or work to facilitate. I read this to mean more of a remediation type program. So, but we will certainly have a discussion about it.
Okay, and the next question, Laura Michaels, mask policy. Please provide clarification on the mask policy at the secondary level. While waiting for my child at school, I noticed a student wearing a neck gaiter. I asked my child, and she said several students wear those. I recall that was discussed as not acceptable to be worn in school.
The board had made a decision early on. We don't endorse necessarily gaiters, but we did say that they were permissible, and that hasn't changed since early on in the year.
And O'Neill Fenley, attendance policy. What is the policy for students being marked sick when they are quarantined or awaiting the results of a test? Will that policy be made public? Because my son was removed from his 6th grade class today for doing the right thing and trying to stay in class so that he doesn't fall too far behind. No one in the middle school seems to know the proper procedure.
And again, we will address this with the building administration tomorrow. Mr. Manzo will be over there going through this. We have adjusted, because we had said this at a previous meeting. When children weren't in school, we've been marking them absent, and that helped us to keep track of where they were and helping us with contact tracing and numbers in the classroom. We now, I know Mr. Z, our technology director, has provided in the last week a virtual option, a virtual override. So if that has not been rolled out completely, we'll make sure that it is, and we will make sure that the students are made aware of it and the parents are made aware of it, through some sort of parent square notification. But it is an upgrade. Many people were concerned about attendance, and quite frankly, we were frustrated about it, because we were being told if a child stayed home because they were quarantined, but they were watching virtually, that we should mark them absent, because then we knew physically they were not in school, and that helped us with contact tracing. But like I said, Mr. Z has been able to provide an override to that, and You know, so we'll make sure we push out that information. I'm sure Mr. Manzo will get to the bottom of that the first thing tomorrow.
Okay, any other comment? No? That brings us to the conclusion. The next Board of Education regular business meeting will be held on Thursday, February 25th, 2021, at 8 p.m. Motion to
Motion.
adjourn?
Oh, my
Okay.
God. All right, let's go.
All right, thank you. All right, good evening. We apologize. We're having technical difficulties, but we're going to call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Again, this would normally be broadcast live, but the recording is going to have to suffice for tonight because of technical issues. Board President to advise members of the